Oh, there you are. I was beginning to think you got lost on the way here. Please come in. Have a seat. Dinner will be ready here in just a moment. Tell me, you did find the place all right, didn't you? I know the roads can be a bit difficult to navigate at this time of year, especially at night. I hope it wasn't too much trouble. Excellent. It would have been difficult to have an interview if the reporter failed to reach their appointment in one piece. Oh, please, the pleasure is all mine. I'm just glad you accepted the invitation at all. I've been very interested in your work of late. Besides, there's no need to thank me just yet. You haven't even tried the food. Speaking of which, I do believe everything should be ready. Would you kindly join me at the table? You stay right here. I'll go get the last dish from the stove. You're in for a real treat this evening. I hope you're ready. Here we are, cooked to perfection. I do hope you're not a vegetarian. This is a very special main course. There. So, before we get started, allow me to present tonight's meal. For starters, we have a lovely salad made with ingredients pulled from the garden just this morning. For the main course, we have sautéed calf liver, served with onions and capers, along with grilled beef heart with a balsamic vinegar marinade. And for dessert, we have homemade chocolate pudding. I do hope you enjoy. Oh, and let's not forget tonight's drink. A lovely Spanish red wine to accompany it all. Here, I'll pour you some. I find that this pairing goes wonderfully with the main course. Not too bitter to take away from the flavor, yet strong enough to complement it. Well, no need to talk it up any longer, please. Dig in. So, now that the pleasantries are out of the way, let's get down to business. How long have you been a reporter now? Oh, really? Only a year? Well, I must say I am quite impressed. With the quality of your writing, you could pass for someone with much more experience. I've especially enjoyed your articles on the recent disappearances around the city. What got you interested in such a field? A childhood dream, How admirable of you. No, I'm not mocking you at all. There's nothing wrong with chasing childhood dreams. The fact that you stuck with it from such a young age is sweet. In fact, that's what got me to where I am today. As a little girl, I was always fascinated by the human body, how it worked, what it could do. Of course, this did lead to some teasing growing up, but all these years later, I still love the field. Funny how things like that work out, isn't it? Oh yes, I've always wanted to be a surgeon, but it wasn't until high school that I truly fell in love with it. There was something just so fascinating about anatomy, especially the dissections. Looking at how everything worked and came together, it was like seeing true art for the first time. That passion carried me all the way through medical school and led me here. Oh, done with the appetizer? Perfect. Let me carve you some heart. There you are. Here's some of the liver as well. I do hope you like it. It's one of my favorites. So, what do you think? You like it? Excellent. I'll admit I was a bit worried. I know these things aren't your typical Sunday meal. Liver especially can be off-putting to some people. The texture and all. Did you know that liver is a great source of vitamin A? It's also very high in protein, yet carries fewer calories than other cuts of meat. Some would even go so far as to call it a superfood. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bore you with the details like this. It's just that the body is so underappreciated these days. You never realize just how much can be gained from knowledge like this. With all these fad diets and miracle pills, all one really needs to do is gain a better understanding of how the body works, and then you let it work for you. Take yourself, for example. You seem pretty fit, if you don't mind me saying. Would you consider yourself an athlete? A runner, wonderful. It always makes me glad to see someone taking care of themselves physically. Nice strong heart, healthy lungs, good pair of legs to go along with it. Wonderful indeed. It's nothing. Are you ready for dessert? Splendid. Let me clear that for you and I'll grab the pudding from the kitchen. Here we are, the grand finale. This is actually an Italian-style dessert. It can be a little rich. Enjoy. Ah yes, back to the true topic of the night. The disappearances. You've written quite a few pieces on those, haven't you? My opinion? Well, I think it's just terrible, don't you? At least, given the descriptions you give in your articles. Stories about some mysterious figure stalking the night, snatching away unsuspecting victims only to mutilate their bodies and harvest their organs. Dreadful. What was it you called this killer? Bottom feeder, if I remember correctly. Such a frightening picture you paint. The name's a bit harsh, though, don't you think? Well, I only say that because you simply don't have all the facts. Things like motive, means, and most importantly, identity. I may be playing devil's advocate here when I say this, but your articles see things in such a one-sided manner. It isn't really fair to criticize the woman so harshly. I mean, yes, why did I say woman? Why, I say that because she is one, obviously. Haven't you figured it out? She's me. No need to look so surprised, my investigative reporter. Are you really all that shocked? After all, you were close to figuring it out with all that snooping you've been doing these past few weeks. I will say your skills are quite impressive for someone so young. But we can't have you spilling my little secret to everyone, now can we? Easy now, there's no use trying to run. The paralytic in your food should be taking effect as we speak. Besides, if you leave now, you won't get all that information you've been digging for. You see, several years ago I realized just how much the human body can do for us. Just not in the way you might think. People put all this time and money into creating a healthy body, only to die and have it put in the ground in a fancy box. Isn't that such a waste? Think of all the wonderful nutrients left to rot. All those beautiful organs essentially being thrown away, disregarded. We spend so much time focusing on the animals around us for food. We neglect one of the most abundant resources right in front of us. In your case, right in front of me. Oh, shh. No need to struggle. It'll all be over soon enough. To the authorities, it'll look like you died in a car crash on your way back from dinner. They'll find your car in the river. A shame they never found the body, though. But don't worry. Not a single piece of you will go to waste. A body like yours would be an awful thing to just throw away. Not like the other ones. The ones I took off the street. They all lacked something. Although tonight's meal was the best so far, it did take more work than I care to admit butchering that heart. All the strings and blood vessels. But in the end, it turned out better than I hoped. The girl's blood really helped the flavor for the pudding, too. Monster? Oh, my dear, I'm no monster. The people I take certainly won't be missed. If anything, I'm making the city a better place. Although, you're something special. To be honest, I think that what I'm doing makes me a better human being. After all, you are what you eat.